like to call to order our regular scheduled meeting for Thursday, February 26th of the Page County School Board.
Mr. Obersell.
Yes.
Mr. Boswell.
Yes.
Mr. Breeden.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Mr. Payne.
Yes.
All present.
Have a moment of silence. Time for our Pledge of Allegiance. We've got something to be read
Yes. Is Miss Marcy Kaiser? Where's she?
right here.
Okay. I'm going to read this about you first before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, all right? Okay. Marcy is a top-notch student who truly stands out in every way. She is smart and dedicated, always putting forth her very best effort and consistently going above and beyond expectations. She is NJSHS president, landed the lead female role in both musicals, and is a student athlete. Her kindness and caring nature shine through in every way and as she treats others, offering help and encouragement whenever it's needed. Macy doesn't just meet challenges. She rises to them with confidence and determination, setting a wonderful example for everyone around her. Thank you.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get into our agenda, Dr. Huber, you want to make an announcement about the gifts in front of us, please?
Absolutely. Thank you all for being here this evening. Before we get started too far into the agenda and recognitions, we wanted to first start with recognizing our school board members and school board clerks. Let's give them a big round of applause. In front of each of the board members, they have lots of different gifts, handwritten notes, and things from across the school division that have been created by students, by staff, and just a small token of everyone's appreciation in our school division for your leadership and your service to our county. So we wanted to thank you all very much for that. And at this time, you can remove your bags if you would like, so you can see everybody out.
Oh, we don't get to open them already? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful.
Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? I don't see any. I'll take a motion to approve it.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
We've got a motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by Ms. Bryant.
Mr. Boswell.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Breeden.
Yes.
Mr. Oberfeld.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Mr. Payne.
Yes. We need an action on the matters discussed in closed session.
Make a motion, we approve the matters discussed in closed session personnel, section 2.2-3711 alpha 1, pertaining to the discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for school board employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salary, discipline, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of the school board.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by Ms. Bryant.
Mr. Breeden.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Oberfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Boswell.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Mr. Payne.
Yes. Do we have any citizen comments? No citizen comments? We'll go to the consent agenda.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We got another motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by Ms. Bryant.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Overfelt?
Yes.
Mr. Boswick?
Yes.
Mr. Breeden?
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Yes.
Mr. Payne?
Yes. All right, recognition.
Good evening again, everyone. We have a significant number of recognitions this evening, which we are very excited about, and thank you all for being here. Just for some crowd control measures, we'll invite the groups up one group at a time, read names of students, and you will walk past Ms. Clark, get your certificates, and then return to the front for a group picture. Okay? So we'll start off with our all-district band recognitions. If you're here for all-district band, please come up to the front.
Holy moly. Well, that's nice and bright.
All right. So for all-district band recognitions, we have Bryce Bailey, Cameron Dodson, Tristan Elfer, Charlotte Seal, Rachel Stout, Madeline Strock, Brogan Thomas, and Preston Wood. Give our all-district band recognition. Round of applause. Thank you. Hold on one second. We're going to get a picture. Nice big smiles. All right. Thank you all very much, and congratulations. Next up, we will have our all-district choir students. Being recognized this evening for all-district choir, we have Ellie Babington, Tatum Barnes, Bridget Dudley, Jalen Johnson, Addison Kelly, our next student is being recognized for all-district choir and all-state choir. Khalil Kendig, Speed King, Gracie Melton, Natasha Peer, and Bryn Tilstra. Congratulations to our all-district choir students. Please smile big for the photo. Very good. Thank you all. Next up will be our students being recognized for Martin Luther King Jr. exemplary work. You all could come on up to the front. Welcome, everyone. Come on up.
Wow. Good turnout.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Wonderful.
All right. First off, we have Leland Alger, Ellie Babington, Penny Bell, Jeremiah Bennett, Maddie Carter. Colson Chu. Caden Cook. Chloe Fultz. Emily Henry. Adelaide Janey. Chloe Jarvis. Colton Jarvis. Josiah Jimenez Oliva. Carmen Judd. Quinn Marshall. Bailey McDonaldson. Kristen Miller. Ren Ratliff. Danielle Rickard. Mia Zendejas. Big round of applause for all of our students. You'll have to squeeze in so we can get you all in the picture. Good job.
Good seeing the little ones involved.
It really is.
Memories forever.
Congratulations, students. Not attending. We'll still read it. Okay. Yep. Our next recognition, the student was not able to be here this evening, but we are still going to read the recognition for her as our model student from Shenandoah Elementary, Autumn Head. Give her a round of applause, everyone. A little bit about Autumn. Autumn works so hard every day, and it truly shows. Even when things are tough, she keeps trying and never gives up. She has the sweetest, fun-loving personality, and her smile brings so much sunshine into the classroom. She is a true friend and is kind to everyone around her. We are so lucky to have her, and she makes Shenandoah Elementary a happier place just by being herself. Congratulations, Autumn. We'll now bring up our all-state cheer recognitions. For all-state cheer second team, we have Gracie Breeden. All-state cheer second team, Aubrey Campbell. All-state cheer first team, Ava Dunlap. And all-state cheer, Brianna Osborne. Congratulations to our all-state cheer recognitions. Next up, we have Page Middle's girls basketball team. All right. Our Page Middle girls basketball team is being recognized for back-to-back undefeated seasons. Congratulations. Our students representing our team in front of us are Natalie Austin, Beverly Baker, Kendall Cave, Berkeley Comer, Trinity Cron, Aubrey Dean, Halen Helmick, Avery Hilliard, Kinsley Housden, Addison Knighton, Isla Lauterbach, Mila Lauterbach, Lauren Lucas, Harper Mays, Scarlett McLeod, Liliana Rodriguez, and Bristol Turner. Oh, awesome.
Oh, there you go.
Landscaping.
It's good.
Congratulations.
Well done. Undefeated. That's pretty awesome.
We'll now bring up our Page High State wrestlers.
Right. There they are. Got a bunch of-
These students are our state wrestling representatives for Page High. Aubriana Bracken, second in the state. Placing sixth in the state is Cameron Daniil. Kayla Pence, state wrestling. Placing sixth, Logan Richards. And placing fifth, Michael Shiflett. Oh, wait. Congratulations to all of our state wrestlers. At this time, students and families that came for recognitions, you're welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting. But if you have important homework to do, you may leave.
Holy mackerel. Whoa.
Cleared out.
Good group of students right there.
Yeah, I gotta go eat that muffin.
Right. Yeah.
That's less people you have to present
Yeah.
to. Still believe 5
There's not gonna be anybody. Yeah.
not counting St.
Looks like.
We got one more. We got the Luray Middle School.
Oh, that's right.
So where are you traveling?
Yes.
Can we cut the lights?
Wait till they filter out.
No, we're gonna get the spotlight on that.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah, it's just the 3 spots, I think, are good.
It's gonna give me a headache.
Yeah. I am. I'm not even going this way.
Real fast.
That's why I don't like driving at night.
Right. Some with new LED headlights are about like that.
I just can't see them.
Yeah,
That's such a relief.
No, that's good. Yeah.
I like whoever did those lights.
Oh, God, I know.
I don't know. You know, my eyes need to adjust before I read this.
Thanks for saying that. I didn't want to say it.
Right. I was actually thinking it's terrible, but honestly, the lighting is great if you have to read.
It is.
Are they central office? Yeah. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm still got blind spots because
Right.
of the bright light.
Got a guy in the back. These folks with their sideway badges are probably central.
Yeah, that's Casey. That's Brandy. She's special ed. That's director of student services. Not sure about who she is.
Oh, you got something in there. I'm gonna share with Dan. I think Dan wants one too.
That's right. Oh, thank you much.
Oh, give one to Jason.
One to Jason. One to the fellow at the end.
Thanks. It's from those onions.
I don't know.
Someone giving me a hint.
It was Renee. She told us we had bad breath.
Renee's telling us. She's
I
telling
take it
us.
as a hint.
I had the onions too.
Renee said you need to have one of these. I'm like, what?
Hey, that's good. What are those?
They were the orange flavor.
I thought it was just a regular lifesaver. Huh? Ah, that's good.
Better.
It was nice.
Thank you.
Right. This feels more comfortable.
No. Hey. I guess I can. Yeah.
Okay, the crowd is moved. We'll look at our Luray Middle School Volunteer of the Month, Jessica Matthews. Is she here? There she is. Come on up. We're gonna read something about you. Okay. It's good.
It is good. It is good. Luray Middle School would like to recognize Miss Jessica Matthews this evening. Miss Matthews has been an integral part of our school when we needed someone to help step into the challenging science classes this year. She volunteered and took on the role. Despite this being her first significant experience in teaching the subject, she embraced the challenge and provided instruction that with just in 5 weeks led to our students to exceed expectations on their SOLs. Her enthusiasm and ability to connect with students were truly impressive. Luray Middle School greatly appreciates her capability to take charge and help students excel, marking her as a natural in the field. We hope she continues her journey in education to become a teacher. We need more educators like Miss Matthews, and we look forward to her ongoing contributions to our school and to others. Simply put, she is remarkable.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate you. We need a picture. Yeah.
Well, we should have.
Definitely.
Can we get it with the principals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a picture with it.
I knew they were out of school.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. As Dr. Huber already recognized our school board, we appreciate the gifts and, oh, we got more? Okay.
Make sure there's no picture of us up there.
Well, we had a little bit more that we wanted to do for recognition this evening. Hopefully that's okay. And so when I call your name, we're just going to ask each board member to come down, take a look. I don't know if you saw what was in front of you as you came in to the meeting this evening. Various gifts and a lot of care and thought into student artwork, banners, the gifts that you were given at the beginning of the meeting. And we also have a certificate for each of our board members to, again, thank you for your service to us as a school division and to our community. So I'll call your name, and if it would be all right, if you could come down, grab your certificate, and take a look at what is in front of you. And get a picture, I was reminded. We'll first start with Dwayne Painter. Dan Foswick. Michael Overfelt. Renee Bryant. Jason Breeden. Britt Thomas. And now recognizing our student school board representatives, thank you for being here this evening. First off, Bridget Dudley. We will recognize Andrea Bellows, although she's not around. Next up, Joey Miller. And Veronica Yarrow. Get a group picture real quick. Don't go anywhere, Linda. We also want to recognize Linda Breeden Wallace for VSBA School Board Clerk Appreciation Week from February 16th through the 20th. So round of applause for Linda. Join the group. Also want to recognize, she was not able to be here, is Kimberly Burton for School Board Clerk Appreciation Week as well.
We could have done it worse. Rick is like this all the time. Every meeting.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for that. Appreciate that. So our informational items, we have the minutes to be reviewed for January 26. So that's information you can go look on. Also, the next one will be our Luray Middle School instructional update for Mr. Marsh and Miss Owens.
Yeah. Does this detach? Yes. Thank you. I'd like to start off a little Frank Sinatra, see where we go with them there. Okay. Dr. Huber, it's blessed to see you. Blessed to see you here. Okay. If you guys don't know Carrie Owens,
You know her.
it's just been a remarkable time that I've had. I got to give you a hug. Doggone it. What an incredible blessing she has been, not just to me, but to the district and to our students. Well, I'm out of 7 years of retirement. Here I stand. And I cannot imagine any better place to be standing. Thank you all, the board, Dr. Huber, Dr. Johnson, for placing your trust and faith. I don't know why you did it, but you did in me and providing Carrie to be my sidekick. My goal in all my days of education was, the focus was always, how easy can we make it for teachers to teach? That's always been my goal. And in lieu of that, how fun can we make it for students at the same time? Well, the one thing, if you guys might have remembered this little film clip, and I'm not showing it because I was not allowed to, the I Love Lucy segment on the chocolates coming down the factory line. It's a remarkable piece that I've used over 30 years in HR demonstrations to curriculum to whatever we come down the pike. And if you remember that lady, they started out, oh, this is nice and cute. This is how we do it. And then they sped it up. And then they sped it up. And they sped it up. And each piece of candy to me just kind of represented a new standard that we had to take care of, a new requirement we had to fill out for a piece of paper and for the state, anything of that nature. And then you got the person in the back saying, let it roll. That always bugged me because it just got so fast, so intense that sometimes we lose the focus. And my focus was always on the kids. Let kids be kids. Let teachers teach. And how can we as an administrative team be able to support that? So when Carrie and I came on board in June, July, somewhere in that area, the concept was we looked at a master schedule, or we looked at the schedule that the school had, and I thought, this doesn't look fun. So we had to make some changes. So first of all, we can all agree, seems like we asked to be done, that we have to do more each year. Information requirements just keep coming. And at times, a little training to support the pace of what is needed to be done, especially if new teachers coming in. How much can we support them? Therefore, the focus was to provide time for teachers. That's what I needed to look at. To have teachers drive or row the boat, and instruction and enrichment. Thus, the following is what we thought and think can help us all to slow down and meet each challenge as we go. So to let it roll, we're ready to roll. Hit it, Blake. When I first got there, the times and the meetings and so on, if you guys recall the little piece on prime time, that was a major interest for me because it required teachers about an hour beyond the class day, within the day, that is, but it required about an hour that they had to come up with RTI intervention plans and so on and so forth. And the first thing I noticed that teachers were having to come up with like 70 to 80 37-minute mini lessons per semester with no time to even prepare for that. Then I must have been there. Also noticed that there was only 24-minute lunch periods. I thought 24 minutes in the midst of all this. That's a pretty heavy day for the student and teacher. So we had to look at that. And then the class called advisory, 30 minutes or so, we had to take a look at that as well to see what is the purpose of all of this. Well, the first quarter, we came up with this plan. All students. Now, last year, if a student was not doing well, they had to sit in a class, RTI and interventions and such, while other kids got to go out and play. That's not much fun. So we had to relook at that. So the first semester, we asked all of our elective teachers to come up with a 2-week presentation with the group. Then the group would rotate to another group. So they would come to me for like 10 days, and then they would go to Miss Owens for 10 days, and so on and so forth. And it was kind of like this concept of how can we make it fun for the kids? So if you notice, teachers would then repeat the same lesson, so on and so forth. We cut that 37-minute down to a 30-minute piece, and we asked our elective teachers to teach these 30-minute mini lessons. And they asked, well, what do you want us to teach? Anything you want. What is your passion? For me, I'm a referee. I referee basketball, umpire baseball, referee basketball, and umpire baseball. There we go. Been doing it for years. I thought, wow, I would love to take a group of kids for 10 days and just teach them the rules of the game, create little mini referees and so on, and umpires.
That's cool.
Each teacher can do what they wanted. Now, in the meantime, I'll get to the next slide on that. That's what we asked of our elective teachers. Can I do this? There we go. In the meantime, our core teachers are not having to come up with 37 minutes a day, these mini lessons, trying to keep the kids going in between 24-minute lunches and all this. We asked our core teachers that they now have 30 extra minutes a day for the quarter to work on a game plan for the second semester. This consists of looking at student data, working on the plans, be intentional what we're planning on doing for this intervention. This is teacher-driven, and data will be provided, and it was. By the end of the first quarter, the core teachers will have not only the data to support what the intentionality of a remediation is supposed to be, but they also get to know their students and the areas of needs. They can group them as they see fit, and they can also do a rotation. Now, this can be done, these 10-minute lessons or 30-minute lessons, 10 different lessons at a time, instead of the 70 or 80 at 37 minutes. Which one would you rather have? Okay? So we tried to create this situation. The second quarter, then, what happens then, and the fourth quarter, is that they all switch. The core teachers now take those kids, and our elective teachers have 30 minutes to work on their next set of game plans. What did they want to do and what they're doing in the middle of this quarter now. Now, I don't know if that one slide was in there. I think we have a slide up in there somewhere of what type of things is our elective teachers doing. Well, I have one PE teacher teaching the history of baseball, the history of basketball. We'll have some doing Ironman. I don't know. We have one of our teachers that is a bodybuilder, so he's down there teaching the kids how to really focus on muscles development and so on and so forth. So each one's doing their own little thing, and I'm going to turn it over. So as I said, our first focus was how do we make it a little more fun for the kids? And I'll turn it over to Miss Owens now.
So I'm just going to focus on some of the fun things that we're doing right now. I think, Blake, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, there it is. There's just some of the things. I know this quarter, one of our teachers is teaching kids how to create their own business. Another one's teaching them to sew. So just some good home life skills too that they can use. You can go to the next one. So we brought back Spike Day. I know that's kind of been a thing in the past, and we kind of just revamped it a little bit. This is something the kids are super excited about. So once every 4 to 6 weeks, they earn this through their behavior. So this is very behavior focused. If they get a referral and different things, they know the expectation and they know what they have to work for. And it's really neat to see how actually every time we've had one, we've had less and less kids have to sit out of it because they really want to earn this Spike Day. We have a committee that puts together all these activities, and it's just a lot of fun. The kids really work hard to get to join the Spike Day. So I know you probably can't see the pictures, but anyways, just put that out there. We also have brought back pep rallies, and I'm telling you, if you ever have a chance to come to these pep rallies, these kids go crazy. I don't think we can hear after we're done, but the amount of excitement is just incredible. They are so full of school spirit. We're actually doing a spirit stick challenge, so the team who win, or the grade level that wins the spirit stick, gets to bring it back in that day, but then we take it and then you earn it back, or does another grade level win? And it's just really fun and really loud and really competitive, and it's just a really fun to be a part of. The next thing is Club Day. This is really fun too. All the teachers get to choose a club that they would like to lead. And then once a month we have Club Day. Our students get to choose a club that they would like to participate in. So it's all based on student choice, and then they get the opportunity to participate. We have a PALS Club. This is a favorite amongst our school. They partner with Luray Elementary, and they actually go into the classroom. A lot of kids who have aspirations of being a teacher, you see them kind of already getting themselves plugged in, and they do crafts and art projects with the kids at Luray Elementary. So that is a fantastic club. And then Creekers Club, Mr. Riley loves this club. I would not want to do it because I don't want to get in the creek, but the kids like to look for little whatever creatures are in the creek, and different things like that. The social committee, they do a fantastic job. We really wanted to be very intentional with our committees. There was a lot of committees, and what's the purpose? So we actually only had 3 committees this year with specific purposes for those committees, and we asked teachers to sign up for one committee, and it has just been really neat to see the amount of time they can actually invest in that committee, knowing that they only have like 1 or 2 main objectives or goals this year. Our social committee does a great job at just doing different things for the staff, and giveaways and contests, and just organizes different events and celebrations. So they've done a really good job this year. They put together newsletters, they celebrate birthdays, and they just do a great job of communicating at our school. Yes, and before we go to student performance, I will say that with all of this, we kind of revamped our schedule and did what's called an activity schedule. So we were very intentional about not doing these things in the middle of the day. So all of our core subjects are all taught before any of these happen. So then the kids kind of at 2:00, that's now their time. So we kind of redid our schedule, and the teachers have been super excited knowing that all the core subjects have been taught, and then now they can kind of let the kids go have fun.
And we make it a point to make sure it's on every Friday whenever we do these events so they can leave on a positive note, something like that, especially before a 3-day weekend and things like that. I know that this data you may have seen already because it is from last year, but let's go through it and see what we got. Starting at 2022, right on up until last year, you can see Luray Middle School is, doing pretty well in its English reading as far as all the way across, showing some gains as they go along. Still being competitive with the state in regards to that. The math, I think, is next. Yep. And math, you see some nice jumps coming in from year to year, being very competitive when it comes to the state and divisions. And then in the science, I think it is. Yes, science, it just, as you can see, just ticking right along, trying to keep up in certain cases of the state. And then last but not least, history. And history has done well from year to year, as well as being very competitive from year to year. Chronic absenteeism is what we've seen. This came off the state. Interesting, about 80, the chronic absenteeism is actually, I think, around 16.9 where we are currently, compared to where we were last year at this time. So we're seeing a little bit better gain there, but we're also seeing a little bit improved on student ADA every day. It went from, I think, about a 0.8 increase from last year's semester to this year's semester, with our attendance growing. So that's been a positive thing. I know we want to see our attendance grow and so on and so forth, but we're up to 336, and I actually think we had, 2 more come in today or within the last day or two. So we may be at 338, I don't know, which is encouraging to see that the numbers are going up. So that's nice to see. Let me get you back here. Done.
Yeah, these are just a few things to highlight some family community involvement. We did a back to school bash at the beginning of the year, inviting all the families into Luray Middle School. That was just a really fun event to bring kids in, bring families in. It was a very good turnout. Thanks to DJ Frosty for showing up and playing for us. He's also played at some lunches, and that's been really cool to watch. We had a haunted house / trunk or treat this fall, and that was really fun. FCCLA and NJHS also have some great opportunities that they're doing throughout the year. And then we actually have a big community bingo night coming up in April. So we're really excited to bring the families in and play some bingo for some fun prizes. One of the things we did this year is we are doing a Student of the Month celebration. And in every subject all across the school, even electives, teachers will choose a student of the month. And during their advisory time, they come down for their grade level, and we just recognize these students with certificates. And I am shocked at how excited the kids get about this. I mean, that's something that we've watched them really work towards, and it's been really fun to watch. So those are just a few pictures of just their involvement there. And then we're also very thankful for our SRO and the relationship we have with the Luray Police Department and the Page County Sheriff's Department. They've been a huge help this year, just navigating some certain things and building relationships with the kids and the families. So we're super thankful for that. And then electives, these are just a few things with electives and just the fun opportunities that the different programs are bringing. I know in our FFA department, there was a tractor that was donated, and the person who donated it actually is paying for the parts for the students to kind of fix up. And that's been really fun. I went out there a couple times. I don't really know what they're doing, but they are really into it, and they are rebuilding this tractor. And if you get a chance, there's a quilt that he also donated. He made it, and the middle picture is actually a finished product of what the tractor, I guess, will look like in the end. So just really cool things going on, a lot of good community involvement. I think the next slide is the attendance. We are also do an attendance breakfast, and we're so thankful for Raleighville Baptist Church. They are amazing. They partner with us, and they cook breakfast for all the kids that get to come be a part of this. And we've had up to 290 kids, I think, participate. And I'm not talking cereal. I'm talking pancakes and bacon and all the toppings for the pancakes, and the kids love when we do that. So it's a good incentive to get the kids here. They have to get 95% or higher during that quarter, and then they get to participate. So thank you, Raleighville Baptist.
Can school board members attend that? You can't, okay.
No, you gotta have a 95 or above.
Oh, I do. Okay.
Always trying to get in there. I have to make mention if that tractor shot that you saw, if you get a chance to come and see it now, that tractor's being put back together. It's starting to look like that picture on that quilt.
Yep.
And I've got to give my a little extra kudo because my cousin did all that. Did the quilt, and he also did the tractor. So I really appreciate my cousin being a part of that. So where we are now, questions that we are considering as we're looking forward. What are our current obstacles? New teachers that we've got struggling with trying to get all that put together. Our RTI plan with the 30-minute lunches and the RTI 30-minute planning, extra time, all that. Yeah, the first quarter, getting a bump. We're trying to work out the kinks of what does targeted mean. So I appreciate Sarah doing all the data that she throws at us and the way that she structured it this past time for us to really start to okay, now we're starting to see how we need to take that time and target a little bit more effectively than what we did this past quarter. Now that's what they're working on this quarter so that we can make that end run going down into the fourth quarter before the SOLs come in. We're looking at what advisory and the RTI is even going to look like for the future. How can we make our elective programs more supportive of our high school programs and vocational programs? That's exciting to be. We've got a great little facility back there, and we'd really like to try to utilize that a little more in that regard. And as Carrie knows from the day I started, how can we make it more fun? And let kids be kids, not a number on a piece of paper. I've always been a high school guy. My last high school, I had 4,300 students on it, down in LA. Let me tell you something. These little guys kind of grow on you. There's 300 of them running around, 336 to be precise. And don't think I've ever been as touched as I have been in the response they give me. And Carrie. It's I can't describe it. Thank you for your time. And again, it's good to see you back. Thank you, guys.
We got the question. So we might have some questions for you, if that's okay. Yeah, all right. So anybody got any questions? I have a couple comments myself. Go ahead.
If you want to see the 45-minute version.
Yeah. Well, what I'll say to this is I've gotten a lot of feedback from the people in the community, and I think you had a couple big issues within the school before you arrived. One of them was culture, and the second was you lost some teachers with some heavy-duty experience that led departments. And everything I've heard has been nothing but positive. And I remember when we went to do our retreat, you spoke about how your roots, and when you talk about those kids touching you, it's come full circle for you. And we appreciate the work both of y'all have done. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Teamwork.
We good? Yep, we're good. All right. Thank you. All right, now we'll have our Luray High School student board member presentation. Dudley?
Good evening. Tonight I have for you a brief update on what's been going on at Luray High School over the last few months. I always like to start with my agenda and my goals for the night. So I'm going to start with the clubs, some of the top clubs that are at Luray High School, and then I'll move on to some extracurricular information. And then my goal for the night is just to give you a quick and efficient rundown of everything going on, advocate for a lot of the clubs, and then answer any questions you may have. So now I'm going to start with the clubs. Starting with National Honor Society as well as our Spanish Honor Society. They work in tandem a lot. They have a lot of the same goals. They're doing a lot of the same things. Both of them have done a lot of service projects throughout the year. They do this with the members and also as well as a lot of community outreach. One thing that NHS did earlier in the year was we worked alongside the Care Closet, which is a facility in Stanley where we donated a bunch of items and then we had people volunteer to go help organize and just make sure everything is where it's supposed to be in their facility. The Care Closet just opened up a new facility over in Rileyville, so we're looking to partner with them again to help them open that up. We also, NHS conducted a blood drive earlier in the fall, and then we're looking to do the same thing in the spring. Spanish Honor Society did Operation Christmas Child, or I'm sorry, NHS did that, where we donated hygiene products and like little toys kind of stuff. It all fit into one box, and we were able to donate probably close to 50 boxes. And those were all for service hours. And then Spanish Honor Society did Adopt an Abuelo for Christmas, where we donated, again, hygiene products and gifts to nursing homes. And then we're also talking about upcoming events. We really want to look into getting into the community more. A lot of what we do is through the school, through our NHS chapter. We're looking at doing a community volleyball game, dodgeball game, and then maybe an Easter egg hunt, depending on what other committees in the community are doing. Now moving on to Tri-M. This is our Music Honor Society at Luray High School. We're planning an upcoming talent show, which is most likely going to be held on Thursday, April 23rd. We're on the lookout for sponsors and donations, and then more details are going to be able to come once we get closer to the date. Now moving on to our Student Council Association, or SCA. The SCA does a lot of the events around the school. We did homecoming, we did a Friendsgiving, we do a lot of the spirit weeks and stuff like that. We try to do something once a month. We're currently planning a semi-formal, which will be on March 7th, I believe, and that of course is just for Luray High School students. And then many jobs that we had last year have been transferred over to the Maroon Maniacs, which is the next club I'll talk about. They're kind of our pep club. They plan the pep rallies, student sections for our games, and then other community outreach events. March 7th is a Saturday, I believe, and that's when the Page versus Luray alumni basketball game will be on. That'll be super exciting. And then yeah, we've just been promoting the student section and themes very well. We have a great turnout at all of the games, and it just makes the environment at the basketball games specifically just a lot more exciting. Now moving on to our extracurriculars, starting with winter sports. This is very exciting for us. Starting with boys basketball, they are the Bull Run District champions after they defeated Strasburg. Just earlier this week, they defeated Carver Academy and to advance to the region semifinals. I think they played last night or maybe the night before, and they won. So now tomorrow they'll be playing for the region championship against Rappahannock County at Louisa High School. And just some congrats to Matthew Owens. He received Player of the Year for the Bull Run District as well as First Team All-District. Connor Hilliard achieved First Team All-District and Aiden Haddock achieved Second Team All-District. Now moving on to the girls basketball team. They're also making a run in the region playoffs. Along with the boys, they're playing against Surrey County tomorrow night for the championship. They defeated Cumberland earlier this week. And congrats to Emily Benson. She achieved First Team All-District. And then Caroline Donovan, who achieved Second Team All-District. And then for indoor track, February 17th was the 1B Track and Field Championship. Lucy Curley placed first in the 55-meter hurdles and first in high jumps. Isabella Rizak placed in the 1600 meter run, and Asmani Jackson placed first in the 300 meter run, which set a new school record. Both teams finished 4th out of 11 overall and will be back in action at States on March 4th through the 5th. There were a lot of other medals that were given and a lot of other people that contributed, but I wanted to recognize the first place. Now for spring sports, we're just getting started. Earlier this week, we had tryouts for baseball and soccer and softball. The first scrimmages will be March 9th for both baseball and softball, where they will be playing Riverheads, and then boys soccer and girls soccer will be March 19th versus East Rock. And now for some more extracurriculars, band and choir. We've been, for the last several weeks, preparing for assessment, where we go and we get graded based on our performance. This will be in March, and then the last event for band and choir will be our spring concert. I'm not sure if there's a date for that yet, but we'll also do music in the parks, which is where we go to, this year we're going to King's Dominion, hopefully, and we'll be playing there. It's similar to assessment. And then speech and debate. They've been preparing for their first VHSL match of the year, which is this Saturday. To advance to state, students must score 3rd place or higher. And then debate, which is separated at this time of year, they're gearing up for their regional competition, which is also held on March 7th. And that is all I have for you all tonight.
Great. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Busy.
Go ahead. Any questions? Okay. So our VSBA policy updates, Ms. Clark?
Good evening, Board. You have in front of you this evening some new policies up for informational items tonight. Most of those policies were just normal reviews with some minor wording changes to match to VSBA. And there is one that we are removing as we no longer need it. It's no longer a VSBA policy, and it's been incorporated to our existing procedures. Are there any questions?
There's something that needs to be looked at on ET.
ET?
It's a edit that wasn't edited out.
Okay.
And if you show me the policy, I could show you. I don't have it in front of me, so I could read it to you, but I'll tell you. But I know it's on ET because it was an easy one to remember.
Okay. I'll take a look at that. Any other question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our FY 27 pay scale adjustments, Dr. Johnson?
Good evening, members of the school board. The purpose of bringing the pay scales in front of you, and I wanted to mention, you should have a vanilla folder in front of you. We recognize that while this venue is fantastic for lots of students and a big audience, not such a great position for you on the stage with the presentations behind you. So there's a vanilla folder for the 3 things that I'll be addressing tonight, so you can follow along a little bit more easily.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, we realize how difficult that can be. Dr. Huber will be presenting the FY27 budget to you shortly. And within that budget, there are calculations for salaries, benefits, things of that nature. And each year, we come before you at this point if we adjust the pay scale, if there's a % increase, 2% increase, those sorts of things. And over the years, our finance CFO, finance directors have attacked the scales at times. At times, they may be outdated. I can remember Ms. Sechrist, after years of salary frozen, we would have about 4 or 5 steps that were all matching. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, all would be the same salary because of years of freezing budgets. And so we wanted to just bring a couple of things to you tonight that would tie back into the budget proposal. So it's informational tonight. That would allow you to look at it, would allow you to ask questions, it would allow you to get to Dr. Huber, myself, or Ms. Miller between now and the next board meeting when we finalize the budget. But the second slide, as you know, in the budget, you're going to hear, if you can go back a slide, please, Blake. You'll know that we're going to recommend in the budget a 2% increase. So any scales that you see in budget presentations are going to reflect that calculation. Just want to make sure that's understood. And The other thing that is going to be proposed is a step increase. So Dr. Huber is going to be covering that. But what I want to do is specifically look at just a couple of our employee scales that are tied to budget, so that you've had a chance to see them, you've had a chance to listen to the proposals in question or discuss. So the first one is the bookkeeper scale, and you might remember from prior presentations that we did the salary scale within the region, and we looked at the employees that were furthest out on the average in the region, and we talked about coming up with a 3 or 4 year plan, and that is still in the works. As Dr. Huber returned and Ms. Miller was finalizing numbers and we're getting state numbers and projections and so on, it became clear that we would be fairly limited in what we could do with X number of employee groups without the number becoming very large. And so we began to look at what are the things that we can do? Where are some calculations? And as I've said from this podium a few times in the last couple of months, Mrs. Miller has a real keen eye for sheets and numbers and finding things. And I'm going to propose 2 things tonight that tie together, the bookkeepers and the admin scales, and they work well together in the final budget presentation. So for the bookkeeper scales, they were the employee group that were furthest out on the salary study that we did. And you might remember from that presentation a few weeks ago, they were thousands and thousands of dollars below the Valley average. And so the proposal that we have tonight, while it's positive, it's still a ways out from where an ultimate goal could be. But again, we have to consider all employee groups and available funds and reasonable requests. So when Mrs. Miller was combing these scales, what we realized is if you're a 12-month bookkeeper in Page County Public Schools, that means you maintain the funding and the balance and the coming and going of money at the school level. You're a 12-month employee within the school. And those scales, when we looked at them, our initial thought was if we could find a way to increase them by about $4,000, that would be wonderful. When Mrs. Miller started laying eyes on it, she said, hey, wait a minute. The 12-month secretary scale at the school board office, so those are our specialists that have, at some point or another, most of them have been bookkeepers, they've been secretaries, and they just work their way through and during their careers. That scale is almost exactly $4,000 higher than the 12-month bookkeeper scale. So instead of saying, let's add a set amount of money to the 12-month bookkeeper scale, let's move the bookkeepers to the same scale that the 12-month school board office secretaries are on. And so that's not unusual in our pay scales. There are some scales that have several positions tied to them. And so for this, what we would propose is that we move the 12-month school bookkeepers, simply move them to the 12-month school board office scale. And we would actually do away with the bookkeeper scale. It would exist no more. And from this point forward, for this coming budget, we would be able to correct our bookkeepers according to the salary study that we did. And then for future reference, when we do new hires or when people move down the step scale, they would belong to that one. It will accomplish approximately a $4,000 increase for those bookkeepers that would be well merited based upon the salary study, with a plan of doing the same sort of adjustments over the next 3 years with the other lower level based on the salary study. So are the questions, did I explain that well enough on that? We just simply, the request as part of the budget is to eliminate the bookkeeper scale and place them on the central office scale and just retitle it. The other scale that has been in need of work for a long time, and I've heard more than one finance director talk about doing this, but frankly, from year to year, it didn't necessarily get visited. I know when Ms. Sechrist was with us, she visited every other scale. We have worked hard to have a 1% separation between steps, all job types. That has always been the goal. The others were pretty simple because they were vertically aligned, step 0 to 30. So if somebody came on board with us new and they stayed for 25 years and they got a step raise each year, then ultimately they end up on step 25 or step 30, depending on years experience. This layout has been with us for years, the one that you can see, the current 25-26. And the problem with this layout is it causes a lot of confusion for our staff, for our payroll person, for our benefits coordinator, for our HR specialist, because what happens here is when you come on board as an administrator, of course, when you're new, you hit step 0 on your job title. And if you look at the one in front of you now, I'm on the 25-26 admin scale. We're just using an elementary assistant principal as an example. It's pretty easy to place them on year 1. It's very easy to give them a step on year 2 and on year 3. But what happens if employees stay beyond 3 or 4 years, it got muddy because you can see it would bleed into the next level position. Elementary principal, after 4 years, all of a sudden, their step equates to a principal entry level. And so, again, Ms. Miller took these starting salaries. So it's not going to change starting salaries. It's not going to change the practice of us wanting to have a 1% step. But if you go to the proposal, which recommended for FY27, we just broke these out in the same way that all of the other scales appear. And we started with the same starting salary. And then Ms. Miller's team generated a 1% step all the way to 30. So going forward, there's no muddiness, there's no question. There are a few things that we noticed, similar to the bookkeepers and the central office staff. The high school principals and the central office directors were virtually the same. Maybe, I don't recall off the top of my head, but maybe $20 or $30 difference on a given step. The proposal here is that we merge those two, that a high school principal and a central office director be on, just make it one scale. The reason that is helpful, and I've seen this over the years, there are times, it's not unusual, for a high school principal's next job move to be to the central office. The way the current 25-26 scale is, that is a slight pay decrease. So if I've been with you for 4 or 5 years on the high school principal scale, and I come over to the central office, I've seen examples over the years where when they match up the scale and when payroll is working that out, it's slightly less. And then it becomes difficult for a superintendent because I want such and such a principal, they've won the interview, they want to move over to central office, but are we going to give them a pay decrease for such a move? And so when these are so close, we propose we put them on the same scale. It's never an issue again. They would be on the same scale. It's a lateral move, and there's no confusion. In doing so, Ms. Miller ran projections for where everybody would, if we get a step and a 2%, everybody's still going to get a raise according to the strategy. But it's going to adjust the whole package. That money, there's savings there that will pay for the bookkeepers. As she ran steps and placements and people, you found, I don't know, $38,000 embedded in about 30-some positions, which are from all the way, any admin position, from elementary assistant principal to supervisor and beyond. So it's literally what happened on this old admin scale. Sometimes you'll find a 0.7 or a 0.8 difference between a step. Somewhere else you might find a 1.1. And so when you ran them all, and Ms. Miller ran the numbers, there was enough combined there that this is going to be a more efficient way for us to go, and it will cover the proposal on the bookkeepers. And all the starting salaries stay the same. We simply go to the starting salaries, and from there we run a 1% step through 30. And then for next year, wherever I'm at, if I get a step and a 2% raise, I go to the next place on the scale, and it's 2%. So it's, and I'm happy to have one-on-one conversations if it seems muddy. We've gone through it with a fine-tooth comb and feel like it's a pretty good solution, and it eliminates some cloudiness, especially on the administrative side, and finds you a bit of money in the budget to help another pay group out. Just in closing, I just wanted to say that we will continue to address the other positions. one of the things I was looking at this week was legal changes. The minimum wage is changing. It's going up January 1. Thankfully, with the 2% pay raise, we will make, I had to look at our next lowest positions, and they're salaried positions, but you have to do the math and break them back into hourly to make sure you're compliant with the minimum wage. With a 2% raise, we will be compliant in all positions, but the following year, right now, the proposal is it goes to $15. If that happens, we will not be compliant with some of our classified positions, custodians and some of those other positions. So we continue to look closely at this. We continue to really take a deep dive into the numbers to make sure we're doing right by our employees, make sure we're adhering to code and changes in minimum rates and so on. So that's the purpose of tonight, is just to make sure that as you see budget proposals, 2% raises, that keeps us compliant with minimum wage on some of our lower classified positions, or scale adjustments. We're trying, the admin scale was the very last one to be addressed. Ms. Seacrest hit all of them but that one over the last couple of years, and so Ms. Miller was able to dig in on that one, and I think it's going to be much cleaner for our employees going forward.
Any questions right now? Yeah, please.
We have questions.
Dr. Johnson, would it be possible to overlay the 20 the old pay scale here, the current pay scale, with what you're recommending for 27 on the administrative pay scale, so we can kind of compare them side by side?
Yep, I can get that to you. Yeah, we have both completely, Ms. Miller's run. We've got a Google Doc, which is a proposed FY27 for every scale. And then, of course, we've got our hard copy, which is on the employee HR website for the current pay scale. So we can easily get those to you.
And the question that I have is, I guess it's slide 3. And it's the second column, grade 6. It says school secretary 12-month. Is this proposal on all secretaries, or are the bookkeepers in that category?
So school secretary 12-month are our bookkeepers. School secretary 10-month are our receptionists at the school level.
Okay.
Yeah. So the school secretary 12 months would go away. You would no longer see it.
Because they're bookkeepers.
Because we would add that title along with the central office secretaries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so we've got a little cleanup to do, obviously, but we wanted to get in front of you. Good here.
All right. Any other questions?
No, I look forward to seeing the overlay.
Yeah.
Actually, because I was looking at, for example, the first column on, I guess it's slide 4. We talk about elementary school principals with the step 13. It's at 92. And then I'm just trying to transition that over to step 13 on the new FY 27 proposal, and I look at that and it's 99. So am I reading that right?
So are you looking at the 25, the current 25-26 admin scale?
I am.
Yes, okay.
So the left column, the 25-26, it shows a elementary school principal, less than 500, step 13. It says, I think it's 92,958, small numbers. But then on the other sheet, the next page, it shows the same step. I think it's the same position.
Yeah, I see exactly where you're going. I used the word clunky for the current admin. It causes so much confusion.
Okay.
Line 13 on this year's scale is starting salary for an elementary principal or middle school PCTC principal. So the corresponding would be step 0 on the new one, where it's more clearly listed out.
Oh, all right.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay. So there's only
well, remember,
so there's a $2,000 difference.
And remember, we've also ran the 2% on the new one.
Okay.
So they're actually equal. That 92, and I can't read in this light, 92,958 on the new admin scale should be that times 1.02, 2% increase, because that's how we did it. We started the FY27 scales equal to the starting pay for each position times 2%.
Okay. So that overlay is going to help a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, as I said, this goes on the web.
Right.
And it confuses people. It confuses our own finance staff,
Right.
let alone people that are looking at job opportunities for us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll wait to see the overlay and
Yep.
then
Yep.
we can talk about it.
Good. Got one more?
The only other comment, or I guess maybe question I have for clarity is, on the recommendation for the administrative scale, we've got grade 16, then we have 18. Is that supposed to be grade 18?
I'm sorry, can you tell me that again?
So if you look at the administrative pay scale that you're proposing,
FY27?
yes,
Yes, sir.
you've got grade 16. Then in the next column we have 18. Is that supposed to be grade 18?
Let me see that.
Or it says step.
You got to look to the very left where it says steps.
No, what he's saying is second column, where it says elementary, middle school, PCTC, principal step 18. But the others have grade 16, grade 17, grade 19. So that one is a step 18 versus a grade 18. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a transposition in numbers or?
Yeah. Can we talk after the meeting? Because I'm not
Yes.
following you and I
Yep.
don't want to answer incorrectly. Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I guess you're up still with the
sir.
RRM facility
Yep.
stuff.
Okay.
Again, I gave you the handout. You've seen all of this on more than one occasion now. I just wanted to, as informational tonight, give you the final input that we received. There's been a large committee that have been working with RRMM and Chris Phillips and Tracy Healy from Future Think for the better part of a year. And so as we brought this to your attention, we brought it to the supervisor's attention, I didn't want to leave that committee hanging out there feeling like there was no sort of resolution for them after a year's worth of work. We fully understand that this is sooner than later going to be a conversation between two governing bodies and an architect with a lot of money and a lot of factors in play. But I thought it would be good to at least publicly show you the final work from that facilities committee. So with your permission, I'd like to spend about 5 minutes tonight and do that. And I start on the first slide with a big thank you. I listed all of, if you slide down just a bit there on that, there you go. A big thank you to this facility team. There's something pretty interesting about the names that you see on that screen. Between those names, we have worked in every single building, including Grove Hill, for many years. I say that to you because when you start talking about a building problem, if you've lived in that building for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, you have a pretty good understanding of what goes on. And I'll use Mr. Bell as an example. Mr. Bell spent, I think, 4 years as an assistant principal at Shenandoah, and then he spent several years when Grove Hill was a pre-K academy. I've never worked at either of those two schools, but that gentleman has. And the same is true for everybody up there. I've worked in 3 schools. I've worked at Page Middle for 4 years. I spent 3 years in this building, and then I spent 2 years at Luray Middle. You get a pretty good understanding for a building and its nuances. I was telling Dr. Huber the other day about some of the things that'll put a smile on your face if you're at Luray Middle day in and day out for a couple of years. So I only bring that up to say the input was really strong, because we had a team that is today maintenance or instruction, or Mr. Hopkins was on there for Title I and pre-K, and yet he spent years at Springfield. And so it developed some really insightful inside information when we worked with RRMM and Future Think. The other interesting thing about those employees, and this I just think goes to this notion of trying to do right by students over the next 30 years. The folks that were volunteered and were on this team, most of them graduated from Page or Luray. Many of them are parents and have kids who have gone through the school system and still have kids in the school system. Again, that's a pretty unique blend of insight when you start talking about trying to at least offer some input that that has a little bit of value. So I just thought it was worth saying on this first slide that really proud of that group and the comments and the work. It was almost a year that we met. We met quite regularly, sometimes with Chris Phillips, sometimes with Tracy Healy, sometimes with just us and Gene Dykes, but very insightful. So I'll lead up with that. I want to just quickly run through the options. The things that are circled in red, or I'll just point out, these were comments made at our final meeting by members of the committee. And so I was taking notes, and Mr. Dykes was taking notes. All of the folks on slide 1 were at that meeting and have been at just about all of the meetings. And so I thought, well, let me just capture that so you weren't at the meeting, but so you can hear what was said and what was discussed. Option 1, Mr. Phillips reminded us that there's a $51 million CIP. What wasn't said, and what was said afterwards, was that's a 5-year number. The 20-year number is 175 million. If you take that CIP document and go out 20 years, those are numbers that RRMM is going to come back to you all with. So I thought that was valuable on option 1. When you just start talking about deferred maintenance, if it's done well, it's going to be an incredible number over 20 years with the same 9 buildings that we currently occupy. So just wanted to say that because I don't think Mr. Phillips said that. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something. We noted the suggestion that if we kept the same 9 on option 1, you still have a fair number of students that are going to redistrict and move. That's not a positive or a negative, just something that that was pointed out in the meeting. So those are kind of the comments on option 1, which would be keep the same status and just go with the CIP plan as is. Option 2 was similar, other than phased occupied renovation for the 9 buildings. Mr. Dykes already did this for this year. In this year's budget that you're going to look at a little bit later tonight, the CIP number is a little bit over 2 million, but that's 9 million deferred based upon the outcome of the study. So even though there would be renovations, there's going to be a lot of CIP funds still on the table that would have to be determined what's still on the table, what goes off the table. One of the main things that came about in that meeting was how long does it take to renovate? And you've heard this said, when you have only windows, when you have either 8 weeks in the summer or you close a portion of a building and try to renovate during the school year. Dr. Huber has lived that. He's told us stories about that, where they literally built, I believe they built a plywood hallway through a school because there was renovation going on outside of the plywood walls while kids are going to school. So all things to keep in mind. The modular suggestion, obviously one of the hats I wear is school safety. And in the United States today, schools are working hard to get away from modulars at any point in time because you have kids on the outside and you want them behind your best safety mechanisms that you can. So again, just things that we wanted to point out. Option 3, I think it was Mr. Breeden that asked about LES versus LMS on this option, and we went back and we asked Chris Phillips that, and he said absolutely we could look at that. There were a couple of reasons that they had thought initially. A couple of things that he said and he would say it to you, and he will say it to you, but in their opinion, they felt as though actually the exterior envelope of Luray Elementary may not be in as good a condition as the exterior envelope at Luray Middle. So that was something they were thinking would cost. Also, they were thinking that if you renovated Luray Middle, you actually could if you renovated two high schools to add middle, and you went at Luray Middle, you actually could do the high schools, move kids, and then do the 2 middles and not disrupt elementary hardly at all. So some of their thinking, but again, just to give you some feedback on that. Again, they would require expansion, so that's time and money to have to figure out. And the capacity was a big concern on this model. We mentioned that to Mr. Phillips, and he openly stated, yeah, when you talk about renovating, it's going to be, you may have to go up, say on a school like Luray Elementary. It was built the same year that Page Middle was. Page Middle has a second floor, Luray Elementary does not. So would you have to go up? Would you go out with another wing? But this is the level of questioning and insight that's come from this committee over time. Option 4, there were 2 concerns that kind of jumped off the page with option 4. And remember, that's having, again, grades 7 and 8 added to your high school. And then the 4 elementary schools would be renovated. And similar to the other, when you talk about renovations, modular classrooms that would have to come in, time to expand. A lot of these are recurring depending on the options. Option 5, I'm trying to move pretty quickly here for the sake of time. Obviously, this option, I think the committee felt like, in a dream world, if we could do this, you've set your community up. A 50-year plan, I think, is what Mr. Phillips called it, because you get down to 2 campuses, you get down to relatively new schools with a long-range shelf life, if you will. So that would be, and we talked with our operations team, and we talked about the benefits of having 2 campuses, and the lists went on. You take a very small maintenance team of 6 men, and you could literally assign 3 on one campus and 3 on another, for the most part. Your nutritional services, your food deliveries, it's common sense when you think about 9 locations versus 2 campuses. Transportation goes without saying. You would have a lot more flexibility in how you staff. And well, I'll tell you, one of the things, again, putting on my safety hat, I've seen it here when we've had lockdowns on this campus. I've seen us park a fire truck down at 340 across the road and nobody comes on. If you have 2 campuses from a safety perspective, same is true at Luray High, you could block vehicular access simply with the 2 campuses that we would have. So those are just things that were added. I wanted to tell you, I'd mentioned this, and I have it available, and Dr. Huber has it as well, but we started with about 16 ideas a year ago. I think I had quoted 15. I went back and counted. It was actually 16. The beginning of this journey with this facility team, people were dreaming and brainstorming, which we said do. That's a big part of this. And there were 8 ideas that all had a new high school, brand new high school. Some of them had primary schools. Some of them had upper elementary. Some of them had lower elementary. We've got spreadsheets, and Chris Phillips helped us just work through it, told us what was an idea that you could keep on the table and what was an idea that would never work. You're going to have to put a bathroom and 30 classes each because you want to put a lower primary school in Luray Middle, which is designed as a high school once upon a time. So your toilets are designed for 15-year-olds, not 4-year-olds. There's so much that goes into this, and the amount of time that it took to wade through that. But we have those as well. Those have examples of every single idea that was put on the table. We saved it. We started with a spreadsheet that has 16 tabs, and then I cleaned it up to a 2-page spreadsheet that's a quick access. What did they mean by that? What were they thinking? So we have all of that as well. It ultimately got us down to the 5 and to the 6. I'm sorry. As you know, number 6 was a countywide high school that involved then renovating the current high schools. The thing that we talked about in our facility committee, Mr. Phillips said this, and it kind of stuck with me, was you would renovate buildings, this one in the current Luray High, that don't necessarily need renovating to retrofit them to a model that you were trying to achieve. So that was one of the challenges. And of course, the cost of a site and the availability of a site for a significantly sized building, 7 through 12, 2 schools together. I believe Tracy Healer's numbers were somewhere over 1,300 students, pretty sizable. So the very last page, we didn't rank them. We just tried to get down to what made sense. The top one there, option 5, I think, if funds and support and boards all came together, having two new pre-K through 6 buildings and getting to 2 campuses, I think the facilities committee feels like that would be doing the students of Page justice in the long run. If not, combining taking option 3, but looking at Luray Elementary instead of maybe Luray Middle. And then option 2, which was the deferred maintenance, but renovating the elementaries. We felt like it's very important to not send a message to the community that we were just ready to dismiss our historical buildings and our community model. We felt like we owe it to the community to say, what would it cost to get our current model up to speed? And then compare that back to what would it cost to maybe renovate a couple of our current schools, as opposed to what would it cost if you put 2 new elementary schools on site with the 2 high schools. So the reason, I think, after long discussion, and there was great, there really was great agreement on this, was these 3 say to the community that we would really like to see the architectural response and cost, keeping in mind that part of what they'll come back with is if you do this, then you'll save this because you close this school or that school, transportation changes. That's what this RRMM is about, is not only telling you what renovation and construction is going to cost, but what would your big footprint look like financially then if you close X number of schools or merge schools or so on. So these 3 options, we felt like one is really relatively new construction, one is renovating your older buildings, and then one is attacking all of your current buildings but keeping the model. So we thought that sent a pretty fair message to the community that we were still being guided by professionals, not the educators who can dream, but it's not necessarily their expertise per se. So we wanted you to hear that. Again, I appreciate the committee's work. They put a lot of time in over the course of at least 10 months. It was interesting.
So just some information, I've reached out to Mr. Thomas on the Board of Supervisors. We're trying to line up a meeting. I think Dr. Huber is working with them now for our next meeting in March. I think it's best to get their input because they had a lot of input that night. I'm sure a lot of us heard from them, and kind of next steps as well. But I appreciate, everybody, what they put down here.
Well,
it gives us a real good,
that's what we thought. These folks have been, myself included, have been behind the scenes for 10 months working arm in arm with the architects and the Future Think folks. So to at least bring that phase to a close, all it does is give you another set of information. Mm-hmm. It doesn't hurt anything. Yeah.
When we look at capacity, I was thinking about this the other day. Is there a chance that we can get, or maybe we already have it, but like what rooms are being used per location right now?
That's how they got these numbers.
Okay. All right.
Every principal submitted current instructional spaces, and we were asked to give them 20 and 25, seating capacity for 20, but we have that. That's how Tracy began this, was collecting that from every school principal.
Is that something you could send to our board?
It is. I just need to find it.
If you can find that and send it, that would be great. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
An idea of things. Anybody got any questions right now?
I have one that I'll talk to Dr. Johnson later about. It's something that you might have to look up. So,
when they come back, say we're going to go to 3 options, and with the 2 that's going to be new builds or whatever, are there going to be renderings? I know he said price. There's going to be price, but are there going to be renderings of what this might look like?
So Mr. Dykes has talked. I've not asked Mr. Phillips that question. Mr. Dykes has said that a big part of their next phase is to take a given piece of land. Let's just use this property as an example. Or let's use Luray High because they've got all that acreage in the back. Mr. Dykes says if one of the charges was an elementary pre-K to 6 with X number of students, what they would do is they would look at the site to begin saying, well, it can't go there, from some of the architectural things that are way above my pay grade, to, it could go there. So he said one of the things would be to rule in or out the site itself, and then the square footage in a block of the square, what size building would it take? Where should it go? So I think we would see that. I don't know that you're going to get like architectural renderings of what the school might look like at that point.
So you get a site plan first.
I think so. Yeah. And then the other piece they're going to be doing, as soon as you tell them which models you're interested in seeing. They're going to start meeting with transportation, with special education. What does it look like for buses? What does it look like if a program has to be moved to this location from that location? Staffing, a lot would go into that. So it's going to be site, it's going to be size of the building, and all of that. Then they're going to put dollars and cents to. And against that, okay, that means you're not using that building, and so here's your savings from that building.
One thing to ask them when I talk about renderings is BIM, which is building information, yeah. And that's probably where they're getting their pricing, I would assume. They got to talk about facades and different things as well. So I think that you kind of.
And I will tell you, the discussion about your meeting with the board, Chris is going to be there. Chris Phillips.
Okay, yes, he was. Yep.
Yep.
He said he wanted to. So
Yeah, no,
great.
I shot him a date this afternoon, and he has on hold until Dr. Huber gets confirmation from the county.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Buddy? Okay.
Thank you.
Good, thanks. Yeah, no kidding. No. Okay, so. Claims and payment.
We'll have our FY '27 proposed budget. Dr. Huber?
Absolutely. Good evening again, members of the board and those in the audience and watching at home. I have the privilege and pleasure this evening to present our FY '27 budget proposal. Before I get started, I'd like to go ahead and bring up with me Dr. Johnson and Ms. Miller to present with me, if that's okay. And I also want to thank them for their diligence in my absence in helping to get us to where we are this evening with this budget proposal. So with that being said, we'll get started. You always want to start with our mission and vision as a school system as part of our strategic plan, Positive Pathways 2029. And I've listed that just to kind of center big picture for a moment as we think about budget and all the competing priorities that exist. It certainly would be wonderful to have everything that we want, but that's not how the real world works. And the way that we make a lot of those decisions should funnel through our mission and our vision as a school system, as general guiding principles of what are our priorities and where do we need to invest to continue working towards those. We'll begin by looking at enrollment. When we talk about revenues, which we'll do in here in just a second, we need to really talk about funded enrollment and what those trends have looked like year to year. So you'll see two different charts in your packet. I believe you all have that to take a look at, and they're put there very intentionally. The one on the left-hand side of the slide is used from the results of the Weldon Cooper study in August 2025. And what that chart shows you is how predictable school enrollment was prior to 2020. You can see those lines really match each other for a Weldon Cooper projection of enrollment and what schools actually experienced. You'll notice a pretty large delta and deviation from 2020 to the present with the Weldon Cooper line and the actual enrollment line being significantly lower. And so the task of going through enrollment and projecting that and predicting that is more difficult than ever before, is really the purpose of that. It's not quite as easy as going to build your budget around what Weldon Cooper says you're going to have. It's a tool, but it's not necessarily always indicative. To the right, go ahead.
I'm saying, if I may, just Mr. Thomas, I know obviously you're the newest to the panel. Weldon Cooper is out of UVA, and they are the specialists that predict enrollment via birth rate. So forever and a day, school divisions have used Weldon Cooper.
Thanks for that clarification. Chime in anytime, folks. On the right, on the right-hand side, we'll then take that and look at Page County Public Schools and funding numbers that are critical to the work that we do through the budgeting process. You'll see from 2024 to now, the budgeted ADM, fall ADM, and spring ADM, as well as what Weldon Cooper said we were supposed to be. So you'll see that in all three of those school years. We're projecting right now, if the trend line holds true, around 2801 to 2810 by the March 31 ADM for our school division. That's a projection. Obviously, that can change every day. But we wanted to share that slide with you. Next.
Can I, question?
Yep,
2775, that was the number the state funded us at,
that's right.
correct? Okay.
Yep. The purpose of this slide is to give you two different charts and graphs, so to speak, on the work that is being done in the facility study. As you remember through those presentations, we're getting a lot of our projected enrollment from the Future Think work. And Paul referenced that as he talked about those options that we continue to look at. So if we take what Future Think has projected us out and where Weldon Cooper has projected us out, if you can see that chart, you'll notice that they're pretty much well in line with each other, both showing significant drops in enrollment for our school division. Weldon Cooper at a negative 6% plus, and Future Think at a negative 9% or more. And it's important to make sure we keep coming back to that Future Think data. If we're going to drive our facility work using Future Think, then we ought to do the same with our budget. Another piece, and this is maybe old news, but maybe new, so I figured we would talk about it, is the local composite index. That local composite index tells school divisions and localities what is that locality's ability to pay, is the way that it's looked at. A higher LCI means that the locality has more opportunities based on that locality's revenues, taxes, has a greater ability to pay and contribute to the school division's budget as compared to a lower LCI. You can see in that chart, we wanted to provide you with 3 years of historical data on where our LCI is, particularly in the new biennium. And you'll see that our delta from the prior 24-26 biennium to 26-28 is a 0.0254 difference in the wrong direction, meaning that the locality has a greater ability to pay than it did in the previous biennium. Any questions so far? Throwing a lot at you right out of the gate.
So that drives down our state money.
Yes.
Right. And the county would then have to
And then it's
supplement the
expected that
difference.
the county would then increase. So if we think about enrollment as the driving factor in revenue, so we talked about enrollment, now let's now look at revenue sources. We're going to start with FY26, our current school year, and you'll look at the categories that we look at through a budgeting process that's thorough and transparent. You'll see state revenues for FY26, federal revenues, our miscellaneous fund, and then the local revenue. That's the local share that the Board of Supervisors would appropriate to us for this fiscal year. That total amount is $46,351,613 for FY26. Excellent. If we look at FY27, again, this is projected of what we're looking at based upon the ADM, which we are using for budgeting purposes at 2775. For budget purpose, state revenue is slightly higher based upon the budgets that are available and the calc tools available now. Federal revenue, miscellaneous, and local, for the purposes of budgeting, we kept local funding level to then be able to show what the delta is in our new requests, ask, and what we consider to be the funds needed to return back to level 0. And I'll show you what that means here in just a second. Everybody tracking me so far? All right. These next two slides are budget requests, and we're looking at Fund 1, which is really our operational budget, if you want to think about it in those terms. And I'm going to hit each of these. Now, for the sake of answering some of your detailed questions about some of the positions that are in there, I have provided you in your packet job descriptions, particularly for the data privacy and compliance specialist, as well as detailed description on the O&M items that we've included on slide 2. So if you have questions, we're happy to answer them, of course, this evening, but you also have more detail attached. So looking at budget requests for Fund 1, and each of these lines and graphs show a percentage of the total ask for these categories. That's done intentionally. 2% raise and a step, which is essentially an average 3% across the board. That is what Dr. Johnson was referring to when he was talking about the salary scales earlier. For our requests to the board would be a 2% raise and a step to the tune of $830 or $880, $577. Health insurance increase, which those numbers really just came in firm and fast yesterday late. But we are pretty comfortable with the 11.9% increase that cost.
That's great.
Just so we're clear, there can be further discussion about going to our provider and looking at things like how many plan options that we're offering, and what share we expect the employee to pay. As you know, in a prior year, we did not pass on much of that to the employee at an 18% increase. So 18 plus 11, checking my math, is 29% over 2 years. And if we absorb all of that, if that's the decision, that's what it would cost to do. There are other options if that's something we want to look at any further. Anything to add on that item?
I would just tell you that, as Dr. Huber alluded, last evening, really at the close of the day, we got an email from the Pierce Group. That's our broker that helps assist us with all of the insurance bids, and they will send us extremely detailed spreadsheets. How many offerings we have, high deductible plan, $500 deductible, $1,000. How many employees we have on each one? Is it employee only? Is it employee family? So we have amazing detail of the numbers behind the number, if you will, and we can begin to manipulate. If we said, "Ooh, maybe we should pass 25% of that onto the employee," we can give that number fairly quickly. We couldn't tonight because we just got it yesterday evening. We haven't had a chance to meet and go through it, but we do have. They drill it down literally to the individual, just in a numbers spreadsheet on costs by type of insurance. Are we paying the whole amount? Are they picking up a portion of it? So, we have a lot of data at our fingertips.
Yep. Instructional needs is the third request being shown at $680,577. This is to cover textbook adoption is a big one for us to ensure we have high quality instructional materials, which is a requirement from the state for us to get up to speed in that area. That's a large chunk of what you see in your packet on the screen, as well as professional development. I feel like as an educator, if there's anywhere, any place that we should be placing funds if they're available would be teaching children. So that's why we've included that here.
Absolutely.
The data privacy and compliance specialist, you have a detailed description in your packet of the role of that individual. And as you read through that in your review of this information and our proposal, that position is solely responsible for our data privacy and compliance, particularly with new legislation coming out in regards to our obligation as a school division to ensure safety and privacy of students and staff as they use our internet, use our different devices, post things on our website. It's a large task to be undertaken by that person. So,
Can I add, the number you see is not salary. The number you see would be a entry-level supervisor, but you have to include benefits, FICA, and all the things that. And so when we put it in the budget, we can't just put the salary, obviously. So that's why a number appears high, but that just is how much in a year when you start tabulating benefits on top of a salary. That's where that total.
What's the percentage of benefits that you use?
We're averaging about 40%.
40.
It is high. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's higher than I thought.
And that's also the VRS contribute
Correct.
Everything.
call that the fully loaded number.
total.
Yeah.
How does that comp with other districts? Is it about the same?
I'm sorry.
Compare that with other districts, school districts. We're about the same there?
Yes.
40%?
Yeah.
The percentage of benefits is about the same, but the salaries for admin is lower here than other districts. So that number would likely go up if you look at our neighbors.
Are there any current districts around us that have one of these?
I don't know specific to that job description, but certainly our neighbors have supervisory positions in the technology department that we don't. So I assume there probably is, but I don't know for sure the title and all of the various job descriptions in other divisions.
One of the other justifications is, I believe, the first violation is a $75,000 fine.
Yes.
For first violation of the privacy laws that exist, and 150 the second violation. So
Exponential.
it's a position really to protect us and to protect our kids, both legally and safety wise. Behavior support assistance.
But Dr. Huber, if we could just go back, sorry. How are we currently meeting compliance?
We have taken an ITRT position and asked that individual to do both jobs. We're actually, from SOQ standpoint, we need to be very careful about our ITRTs and providing that instructional support and not having them double up on something as large of a task as this. We all wear many hats, but we need to really have a clear delineation.
Because that's a SOQ.
It is.
Yeah, it's a mandated.
It's a good question. Moving forward, you'll see behavior support assistance. That number represents 5 additional assistants. I think as long as I am superintendent, which I hope is for a very long time, you will always hear me advocate for more behavior support in our classrooms for our teachers, and to help our students who need that additional support for self-regulation. We talk about the mental health crisis that we continue to live in, and helping students with behavior, helping teachers with behavior is a critical piece of that. And helping, especially our younger learners with self-regulation, those types of skills is going to be critical for us moving forward. So that's why you see those in there.
Is that total or is that per person?
That's total.
Total. Fully loaded?
Their salary is very low.
So I was going to say again, those positions, I don't have the salary scale in front of me, but they're about 20,000 a year positions.
Okay.
And then, of course, the benefits escalate those so quickly.
Next slide.
Yeah.
So the second slide, don't look at the big number yet, please. Let's get through let's get through the others requests. School buses and fleet enterprise. As you can recall, the leasing program with Enterprise Fleet started this year. It was built into the budget, and we want to continue that into FY27 to continue to lease those vehicles in our fleet. We have a very old, aging fleet, as many of you know, and also provide funds for an additional school bus. We are looking at all options for school buses to include used options, new options at the 71 passenger, as you know, is our standard size because of how small our bus garage is, as well as potential for the larger 78 passenger buses and maybe a co-op agreement with the local school division that could do maintenance and those sorts of things with us.
And if I may clarify a word that Dr. Huber used, lease. When we are dealing with enterprise and lease, in home, when you lease a car, you don't own it, you turn it back in. In school world, when you lease from a company like Enterprise, it's a 5-year financing. So I don't want the public, if those that are viewing tonight, to think, oh, they're leasing in terms of what the community would think. We got, 8 or 9 vehicles last year through Enterprise that we will own now in 4 more years. And the goal with this number, our mechanic and our transportation supervisor came together and identified what next on that aging fleet. It would be 1 or 2 work trucks tied to the maintenance department, and probably in 1 or 2 cars. Kind of depends how the numbers play out if we got that.
So it's a way to pay over time instead of all money up front.
Exactly. Mr. Breeden, last year we put $80,000 into the budget, and we got, I think it was 9 new vehicles out of that. Now that 80 has to stay in the budget for 5 years, and then we own them. But yeah, it's a way to pay.
Thank you. Next, for transportation, we're looking at changing over our routing software for a variety of reasons. Our current provider, which I believe is TransFinder, we would be transitioning from TransFinder to BusRight, which would give us greater capability, greater accuracy of developing routes, designing routes, which is going to become extremely critical as we look at what we just talked about in the last presentation with the facility study. With that comes a huge transportation piece. So kind of preparing that for the future, and that comes in at a $60,000 cost.
That would include GPS then on all buses. We would be able to track every vehicle that's on there. Currently, we have about 16 or 18 vans, cars, and trucks that would be packed. None of the buses have GPS.
And the last 3 items are, there's a description in your packet of where those numbers came from. That is a workup that Mr. Dykes provided to us, and those 3 areas to continue ongoing maintenance for electrical, HVAC, and our environmental, all in purchase services. That brings us to the bottom line, which also talks about a one-time bonus. That is an additional local match to the one-time bonus of $1,500 for full-time employees and $750 for part-time employees. There is a state component of that in the revenue, but it does not cover all of our positions. So that's where that local one-time bonus request is coming from. to a total of $3,814,533.
May I add something? Regarding that one-time bonus request, we are obviously waiting on the governor's final budget to be passed before we know all the answers. But right now, that one-time bonus actually came in the FY26. So the proposal is that that get paid by June of 2026. However, because that places school divisions in with quite the burden that they didn't expect, the talk is now that it could be deferred until FY27 because it does require local match. We don't know the answers to that for sure yet, but that is what we're suspecting, is that you would have the option of either paying that bonus in FY26 or waiting until FY27 when you can secure the additional funding for the local match. I did ask the county what their plans were, and for right now, they're planning on paying their part of the bonus in FY26. So it is something that we need to think about, whether we're going to match them and go with that or defer to 27.
Is this number 655, that's not included in our current overage? Is that correct?
No, we'll get to that next.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so to just kind of break it down in a simplified format, which I thought would be helpful after all of that, with the charts and the requests and that number, to look at just FY27, and we're just talking about Fund 1 at this time. Our anticipated revenue, which is a little bit higher than before due to additional state money, at $47,777,791. Our request locally for additional funding of $3,617,818 would bring us to a total FY27 proposed budget of $51,395,609. So it takes kind of all that information you saw and added it here. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how that compares, and then what is the delta comparatively on addressing some of the items that you all have been discussing over the past couple of months. So we'll go to the next. We look at Fund 2. You'll see last year we had a allocation from the Board of Supervisors for $235,000. That was mainly for an additional school bus and mezzanine to be constructed. So that's what that revenue comes in at, is $235,000.
Was it one bus or two?
From this fund, one.
One, okay.
We had all-in funds for the two.
Okay.
Thank you. Our FY27 requests, and this again is removing, this number is coming from removing out from the CIP the buildings that need items that we're considering for the facility study. So this does not include that, I believe, 9 million.
9 million is not represented.
Okay.
That is a current CIP need to keep us moving forward in the CIP.
How do you determine that? The ones that you move forward with in this number?
It's all projected out, and there's a pretty lengthy spreadsheet of this is what's needed
Okay,
at these
so all the-
buildings, year 1,
Okay.
year 2, year 3,
right.
and then we take out the ones that are impacted by.
Remember, you saw that spreadsheet, it had urgent,
Yes.
necessary, and full rated. Mr. Dyke says that narrative of how that rating occurs. Every CIP piece is in there, and then we went through and said, okay, that's Grove Hill, that's got to wait a year. That's such and such, that's got to wait a year. These were the urgent and necessary for the bill, and with priority given to the two high schools, obviously, because those would be our facility study. These are the two that need to last absolutely the longest.
Yeah.
And what you'll see is what we tried to do for FY27. We were way under funding O&M in prior years. And so what we've tried to do is fix that and fund it properly and not putting those items into just CIP and saying, that's what we're going to do later, because those are things that are coming up that are going to fail or that we need to provide preventative maintenance to so they don't fail. And that's a big focus in this year's budget, is to clean all of that up.
Yeah, so when we talk about the windows and the time of a PO being let to finish the work and build, it can all happen within 1 year within that number?
So what needs to happen, do you mind me answering?
Go ahead.
So what needs to happen is the conversation that has been had over the years, but it's ebbed and flowed with the governing body. The answer is likely not, given windows.
Okay.
There are certain projects you can't do between September and June. The school is in full-on session. There are certain projects you might get done over Christmas break, you might get done over spring break. This number and larger needs to be committed to. Mr. Dykes gives the example years ago over in his prior school division, where finally they got together and I don't want to misquote him, but the supervisors got a $4 million bond, and that $4 million was available for him to work through the CIP, and the expectation was that obviously he couldn't get it done in 12 months. The money was
Okay.
Next slide. Here you'll see our proposed budget for Fund 5, which really, this is just to give you the visuals and the dollar amounts. As you know, in Fund 5, the goal is that it's self-funding from nutritional services, that it pays for itself and runs, definitely not a negative balance. We are finding that many school divisions are having to assist their nutritional programs to stay in the positive, to stay above. So this is just showing you what we adopted for FY26, which was $2,636,709, and we're projecting a revenue by the end of this year for our $1,801,954, which leaves a difference of $834,000. The good news is that our year-to-date fund balance, when we look at that, is the number that you see there, 152,090. Do you want to expand on that?
I do, yes. So at the beginning of this fiscal year, our Fund 5 had quite a substantial surplus. The VDOE doesn't care for that.
Yep.
So we have been asked to spend that down. However, now here we are at the end of February. We are taking a deep dive into Fund 5 just to make sure that as we finish up this year and move into next year, that we are going to continue to be self-sustaining in that fund. So when Mrs. Campbell and I took a look at this current adopted budget, it appeared that those revenues were a bit inflated in some of those categories, so we adjusted it for FY27 to be more actual. So when I took a deeper dive of the fund itself, from where they started at the beginning of the year, with revenues through this year minus the expenditures, the fund has decreased by $152,090, which is perfectly fine because we need to get rid of some of the excess
You may
there.
remember you approved the glass freezer. That was part of a spend down. You approved the bus that was retrofitted with the freezer.
Right.
So those were all
Summer
part of
program.
the spend down. We always say.
Okay.
All right. So cost mitigation for us as a team, and I'm sure for you all as board members, is a critical part of this process. It's not simply, we want. It's also, what do we have that we can repurpose, or what do we have that isn't meeting our needs and not necessary? A lot of times we keep things because it's the way we've always done them. We've always had this position or that, or done this with recurring subscriptions and renewals, and we just keep doing that over and over time. That tends to snowball. on you. So one of the things we wanted to do is look at ways for cost mitigation. And you'll see just general summaries here in each of these areas on what we're doing for those mitigation efforts. Salary scales. So Dr. Johnson shared earlier that we continue to look at those salary scales, continue to make them competitive, but also fixing them. The questions about the old administrator salary scale next to the new scale is a valid question, right? When you look at that, it's confusing. And I think we're making efforts to not only make it less confusing, but also equitable and even across the board. So that's one area for cost mitigation for our team. Staffing review. If we have decreased ADM, which we have, we know we do, logic tells you we probably need to look at what are we spending on less students. I mean, that's the question, the age-old question. And so where are those areas that we might be overinflated or not using staff in the way that we need? And our needs could have changed whenever that position or that individual took on that role. Recurring costs, I mentioned that just a second ago. We've done a really nice job, in my opinion, of taking a pretty detailed audit of recurring costs for things like subscriptions, or software items or programs or contracts that we're in, and really looking at, are they being used? If they are, what's the usage look like? And removing or eliminating unnecessary recurring subscriptions, recurring costs when possible. And lastly, extensive budget analysis. I can stand here very proudly to have worked with Ms. Miller and Dr. Johnson extensively on our budget proposal, and I can tell you that the detail in which the two of them can talk about this budget and how we came to this proposal is second to none. So that process is going to be ongoing. We know we haven't fixed anything yet, but we're all getting smarter about what it is that we have and how it's allocated and being spent.
I have a question before we move on to the next one about the staff reviews. Is someone currently doing that? And if we're looking at reducing staff, is that going to be in a timely fashion to be noticed, give notice to the staff member?
Yep. We do a lot of that by attrition. So we always say that when we have an opening, the questions come all the time. And Paul and I and Cabinet will talk with folks here and building principals. Do we need that?
Yeah,
you know,
and you can move.
Yes, and we're not talking about eliminating someone's job. We're talking about being smart, that we just don't plug and play.
I just want that to be clear for people watching and not be in fear.
That's right.
Dr. Aldepro and his team, Sarah and the instructional team, have looked at every grade level of every school, student-teacher ratios currently. Then we look at vacancies currently in place, and we think of several here at this school, and do we need to replace? I spoke to every principal just about every principal about 2 weeks ago about vacancies that are there right now, and do we need them back? In other words, if we made it through this year, and I use Luray High Science as an example, we limped through the year, we moved students to other places, but we need that science position back. So we kept it in the budget, we couldn't fill it, we didn't have a licensed person, but we are still looking for next year, because if we're going to do that, then the students don't get what they need. And then sometimes classes get down to a small number, and we can say, wait a minute, that's one that we can rebalance the grade level and live without it. We do that continuously with the instruction team.
Next slide. Talking about budgeting, talking about this process and this proposal, we felt that it would be pertinent to do a policy review on the heels of Ms. Clark and her work, to look at our policies that relate to finance, reporting, accounting. So I just presented two for you, policy DB, which talks about our annual budget process. And you'll see three pretty important items there. You were required to have at least one work session and one public hearing. So we are in compliance there. Budget hearings should be posted 10 days in advance per policy. And third, go ahead.
I thought it was 14 days.
or 10 days?
Matter of
In
fact,
policy is 10.
because we had a finding at the Board of Supervisor meeting by the audit group, and the finding was we didn't have a 14-day notice.
The
And they called us
policy
out on that.
says 10.
Okay.
Unless
Something we
there's a
need to look at.
different rule that
Verify
or
that.
law that they're looking at.
mean, they
I
could have
did
been
look
wrong
at
when
the
they
code section on
You were
that
right. It said
and couldn't
14
find
days.
anything, but when I referenced back to policy, that's what it stated.
We need to clear that up with the Board of Supervisors, because they think we missed it.
We can dig more on that too, for you, but thought it'd be great to bring that up. And then, publishing of the budget, including estimated required local match, is also part of that policy. You look at DI, which is accounting and reporting, shows you three areas there that I wanted to highlight. Talks about the auditing system, which you just mentioned, submitting a report of all of our expenditures to our appropriating body, and making those reports available in hard copy and on our website. So I know there were some questions out there about that, so I wanted to present those two policies for the board. Next slide shows a historical audit chart for you all to take a look at. The historical audit chart shows you from 2016 to 2025. At the end of the year, did we end up in the negative, which would be any number below zero, or positive? So you can see those different data points through there, the trend, and then the most recent years with us being in the negative at end of year. That total delta that's listed there at the bottom of that slide is looking over those years. Were we overall positive or overall negative? And it shows the overalls at 2.685460. I will note that these numbers are straight numbers. They do not include any CIP additions that would make that number fluctuate. So if the Board of Supervisors appropriated one year 2.7 million for a specific reason, you won't see that affect this chart. This is just straight numbers, dollars in, dollars out, where were we? Hopefully that's helpful to present it in that way.
And when that audit comes out, when? Yearly?
Finalized in November, usually.
So
It takes a
November.
little bit, that's when they're wrapping up, and,
Okay.
and shortly after that, we would get the results.
And so your goal yourself, moving forward,
Yeah.
is to know it in real time.
Yes, yes. Not to be caught off guard by the
Yes.
rules that we need to
No
account for.
surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good we're putting this in here now.
Yep.
And going to manage it, because the conversations we've been totally different. Totally different in how we move forward if we knew this.
Sure.
In the previous administration.
Next slide. So just to summarize all of this, you'll see for Fund 1, FY27 budget request, again, revenues versus expenditures. Again, this is just the superintendent's proposal to the board for review. The total negative delta is $3,617,818. The note at the bottom of this slide is pretty important, and Mr. Overfelt, it's to the point you were making earlier in this presentation. A total amount of $2,291,989 restores the school division's losses in this fiscal year due to the underestimation of benefit costs, salary increases, and operations and maintenance costs. So that's what we use internally. That's our get back number. That means we're getting back to even. If you think about that chart, to me, that's our get back to that red line, okay, to go into the next fiscal year. And so that means when we're looking at FY '27, our ask is $1,325,829. Those two numbers together give you that $3,617,818.
Okay.
So I tried to split it out for you so you could see the get back and the new.
I would like to add one thing. And the operation and maintenance get back number is really just the under budgeting of your routine utilities, not major things. Yeah, there's quite a bit more that we could put into operation and maintenance, but these are the things that we know or we can pretty much estimate because they are recurring.
Yep.
And so that's what's in that number.
Right. Next. So next steps. First of all, hopefully no footprints in the snow anytime soon. Sorry, I had to lighten it up for a minute. Next steps. So we just got through the General Assembly's Budget Sunday. That's the crossover time between the House and Senate budgets that just happened over the weekend. If you want to reference those bills, it's House Bill 30 and Senate Bill 29. Those were reviewed and came out from that work with a House bill and a House budget. We do not have the calc tool yet on the Senate bill. So we are awaiting that still. So more information to come on that. These are the numbers we have to the best of our knowledge tonight, which should be pretty close in those crossovers, and hopefully they'll be to the better when it's finalized. Calendar dates, many of you are aware, March 12th, which we talked about, would be our board meeting and the budget approval from the board, not adoption, approval. So you would talk amongst yourselves, look at the proposal made, and we would hope to get an approval overall budget then. County administrator's proposal to the Board of Supervisors is March 16th. And then we have a presentation to the Board of Supervisors on March 19th. On May the 4th is the Board of Supervisors budget adoption, and we would turn around with our adoption as a school board May the 14th. So those are next steps and calendar items. I'll end with this before we move into any more questions that may be out there. I think it's important when we talk about the magnitude of decisions like this that we think about how they connect back to our mission and vision, which I stated earlier, but also as a board, your strategic plan and our strategic plan as a school division. That's important. Those things should align and they should complement each other. And so there's really a lot of the essential actions set out and voted on by the board and objectives that you are working towards through this work. And they're listed. I'm not going to read them all out, but hopefully you see that connection. Talking about capital improvement plan, efficiency, retention with competitive salaries, supporting positive student behaviors, retaining high quality teachers. Everything we've talked about tonight hits a lot of the areas of the strategic plan of the school board and school division. And I think that's critical to make sure that alignment exists. Next slide. Questions?
I've got questions.
Yeah.
On revenue sources for FY '26. And then the very next page, projected FY '27 revenue. You said that the local ask, the 12 million or 12.8 million, was level funding on the next page at 12 '24, how's that level when those two numbers are off?
Because it takes those including resolutions piece that you'll see on FY '26, that number's higher than when we adopted because of additional resolutions that came after the fact that we can't plan for now.
Okay, gotcha. All right, and the other question is on budget request fund 1.
Uh-huh.
Looks like this with all the circles. That one with the big number that's in the circle, 3.8 million.
Yep.
And then the next page over for the DOS request is 3.6 million. That's off too.
It is all.
200,000.
Yeah, no, it is all. But there's a reason why. So what we did is we offset with increased revenue from the state level to bring us down in what we were asking instead of a straight ask.
So that's made up in state funding
Yes,
to take the burden off the local funding.
that's correct.
Got it. Thank you.
It's a good question.
Does that also include the 655 one-time bonus?
Yes.
The 36?
Yes.
Okay.
And remember, there's a state revenue part of that bonus
Right.
that we would consider revenue for budget planning. Just doesn't cover everybody.
Okay. I like the way you broke it down. I think it's a very interesting presentation.
Any other questions for us?
I don't have any. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
We'll go to your update.
Yep. I'll just stay right here. Good. All right. Have a brief update for everyone this evening. We'll go ahead and get started. Row the Boat is keeping on going. So to date, we have 602 Row the Boat recognitions that have gone out across the division, which I think is important in tough times, whether it's weather, budget, looking at student scores. There's still a lot of great things happening, and we have great people in our school division, and those recognitions represent within our schools and our community, people celebrating each other and celebrating the good work that they see each and every day. And I don't ever want us to lose sight of that. So I wanted to lead with that this evening. We look at our enrollment for ADM, budgeted difference, and budget. This is a similar table you've seen. Each meeting, we try to keep you updated on where that number is at. We budgeted, again, FY26 at 2830, and as of today, our ADM enrollment is at 2803 with a delta of 27. Getting better every day. It's an important part of our strategic plan of continuous improvement. It's an important part of my philosophy as a leader is we have to get better every day in what we're doing and how we're learning as adults and how we're helping children. So just a couple things to highlight. Really want to give a huge shout out to our instructional team for their work on a new data disaggregation tool. This has been spearheaded by our instructional team and then rolled out to our buildings where schools are really getting at a very granular level where our kids are at, how they're performing, who needs what supports, what kind of supports, and really taking a very detailed look at the information that they have from our assessments, both formative, summative, that are happening in the classroom. So I just wanted to thank our instructional team, thank our teachers and our building leaders for really sinking their teeth into this and giving the time that's necessary to implement something new and to roll with it is to be commended. Especially want to give faculty and staff at Stanley Elementary a big shout out for their work specifically in this area as they've proven in various CSIT meetings and others that they've really implemented this at a high level. Bullet 2, extra and co-curricular accomplishments. Don't have to say much about that when you look at how we started our meeting tonight. Lots of recognitions, lots of teams, lots of co-curricular activities, whether it's choir, musical productions, track, basketball. There's just so many recognitions and our students doing so many good things. I wanted to congratulate all of our students, our staff, our coaches. If you've ever coached, that is a lot of work. And when you do it right, you're doing it for the right reasons. And I definitely wanted to thank our coaching staff across the division for the time and energy and care they're spending with our kids. Last but not least, nutrition and transportation. These are exciting things, and they make a huge difference in a kid's day. First bullet, fully staffed school-based nutrition staff across the division. We haven't had that since I've been here, that I believe. That's incredible. So that when we talk about positive culture and the cross-training that's happening with our nutrition staff that I was briefed on earlier this week, I couldn't be more proud of that. Item 2, this is big. Double runs for transportation. Let us never forget that our kids start their day, a lot of them on a school bus. And how that goes, good or bad, can often dictate the learning that occurs the rest of the day. Double runs do not help. They cause schedule changes, they cause all kinds of things. And I'm proud of our staff for digging in on this. And if you look at that number, at this time, we've only run 60 double runs as compared to 184 in the year prior. The year before that, 244. That takes a lot of hard work. So I thought you would like to know that as a board.
That's big. That's what he needed, $60,000.
Everybody wave to Blake. We want to thank our technology team. You see the slide there. It was Digital Learning Day, Technology Appreciation Day, whatever you'd like to call it. That team in our tech department gets a whole lot accomplished, keeps us all going, and couldn't be more proud and thankful for those folks. They do a lot of hard work and never miss a beat. So thanks to our technology staff. School counselors. Last week, we honored and celebrated the amazing work of our school counselors across the school division. I want to thank them personally for their dedication and support of our students, families, and staff. They are critical members of our team that really provide a lot of needed support in our buildings, and I'm very thankful for that. And you'll see on the screen at each of our schools, the school counselors, those who work in TDT, as well as the administrative support staff in those buildings. So please, if you have a chance in the next couple of weeks and see a school counselor, please thank them for all of their hard work. I'm sure you probably already have, but 100-day plan update for the superintendent, which I continue to provide and will. These are the areas that have become the focus for me as a leader in phase 4 of that plan, which many of you are aware of. Getting the stop, start, continue meetings back and running here in the spring, finalizing our surveys, the board engagement that we've talked about with both boards, Board of Supervisors and the school board, will continue. Looking at, as we head into spring and summer, our recruitment and retention plan across the division and how critical that is for the work that we do, getting the highest qualified staff and folks that we can in front of our kids every day. Budget alignment discussion, which we've already had and will continue to have with the board, the strategic plan mapping, and a report back to the school board on progress and examples of some of these things over all 4 phases. So that 100-day plan is posted on our website if anybody would like to take a look. The next slides are all part of school board appreciation. So thank you again. These are the folks that we honored this evening for school board clerks. Obviously, our school board will have to get some carts, Mr. Kale, to help them get all of their stuff out of here this evening. But we couldn't be thankful enough for your all service to the school division. Our students who are hanging strong with us tonight, I'm glad that you're here. Your voice is incredibly important to me as a superintendent. So if there's ever anything you hear, whether it's here in these meetings or more importantly, in the hallways of the schools that you walk each and every day, I'm available to you. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You're all doing great things. And just again, I want to thank and extend my sincere appreciation to the board. And I wrote a message to you up there in the presentation. So thank you. Questions and comments for me?
I don't think you have any.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Miller. Claims for payment.
We'll take our next into our action items. Approval claims for payment, Ms. Miller.
Yes, thank you, and good evening again, board members. You have been provided with the claim certification for February 26, where the total expenditures for the operating fund are $225,721.16. Fund 5 school food service, $27,586.57 for a total expenditure of $253,307.73. You have also been provided with a list of claims and check registers. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer.
I have one, and it's one I didn't ask you when we spoke earlier.
Okay.
What percentage are we through the budget at this stage? Are we at 62 spent, 42 spent, 82 spent?
I will tell you, if you don't mind, when I give you the update in the next meeting, which will be through February.
Got it. All right.
Yep, I've always put that on the presentations, where we are as far as the month percent, and then where we are with the expenditures.
All right. Thank you.
I do have good news, though. I did a little figuring today. I'm not going to disclose it, but we are still heading in the right direction.
All right. Thank you.
It's good news.
It is good news.
Well, entertain a motion for this.
I'll make a motion, we approve the claims for payment as presented.
Second.
I give a motion by Mr. Overfelt and a second by Mr. Bodgett.
Yes.
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 Yes. Purchase orders over 10,000?
Yes, you have been provided with one purchase order over $10,000 tonight, and this is for Riddleberger Brother replacing 2 boiler burners for the total of $32,471. This is for Shenandoah Elementary.
Who's it going to? I can't see the.
Riddleberger.
Insurance.
Not only that, these are the 2 burners for water damage, boilers with damage, with some water in that.
Right.
So that, along with the number of those, we have to fix it.
A possible reimbursement back.
It's good news.
I recommend purchase order be approved.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Bodwick and a second by Mr. Overfelt.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Early Retirement Incentive Program?
Hey, can I make just a comment in
Yes.
the middle? You know, these purchase orders that we're doing for repair work in schools and so forth, we need to share these numbers with our graduates out of the PCTC to let them know how much money people really make in the trades.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Members of the board, 2 weeks ago, I came before you with a request to update the early retirement incentive plan, which would extend it into next school year. It would allow retirees who have hit the age of 60, I think it's by August 1, and we went through all of the details of that. With your approval tonight, we could then advertise it and have informational meetings and get a feel for what interest there is from our employees.
I make a motion we approve the early retirement incentive program as presented by Dr. Johnson.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Oldfelt and a second by Mr. Bodwick.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
VSBA policy update, Ms. Clark.
Good evening, board. We come to you this morning, or this morning, it might,
Almost.
with policies that were presented last time. Thanks to Dr. Johnson, I was covering somewhere else that evening, but Dr. Johnson presented those, and we're bringing those back to action items tonight. Are there any questions on those? Make a motion that we approve the VSBA policy updates.
Second.
We got a motion by Ms. Bryan and a second by Mr. Breeden.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have our board comment period. If the students want to say anything, we'll just work our way back this way and finish tonight. If you don't, that's fine as well.
I really like the student recognition that we do. It just shows how much hard work the students really do put into their athletic careers and academic and stuff like band and choir. It really just shows how much students really do work for their futures and stuff that they like enjoy on the weekends and the evenings. So it's just really nice to see that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the presentation from the Luray Middle School administrators. I really can appreciate administrators and teachers that are dedicated to making education fun while still teaching the children, you know. And I really think that's something that's really good for the county. So I really enjoyed that.
First of all, happy School Board Appreciation Week. Thank you to everybody on this board. Also, welcome back, Dr. Huber.
Thank you.
Very glad to see you back. And yeah, I want to add on to the comment about the auditorium, how full it was tonight. I really think that the recognitions are so important to students and their families, and I think that seeing just all these people excited to hear their name on a school board meeting, I think it's just really important. So, yeah.
I do want to take the time to just thank the board for the opportunity presented to me to serve alongside each of you guys and represent our students and community. And then secondly, just I did have the opportunity to attend the Page County Middle School musical here on Saturday. Everybody did a wonderful job. It was just a great showing of our students, their talent, and really their passion. So that's what I've got.
I guess it's my turn. I just want to welcome Dr. Huber back. It was great meeting you the other day for the first time because I hadn't met you before then. So it's great to have you back and see where we're going in the future. So also would like to take the time to also thank the board for allowing me to serve again. So this is my second time around. We'll see how longer it lasts if I come back a third time. But thank you for that as well.
Well, I think after listening to all the numbers tonight, and all the work that's been done on the preparation, I'd like to say that Miss Miller is the shiny star. I mean, she's done it. When she says, I've done a little figuring, I thought, yes, they've used some mortar in this building, just a little bit. Great job, just a great job. It's inspiring to hear you. That's it.
Okay. Hey, I think the recognition of the students tonight was actually fantastic. What wonderful accomplishments, and I'm really glad we do that. I appreciate the fact that Mrs. Clark can run up and down and knows all the students. Good job on your part. I think that was cool. I had the opportunity to attend the Governor's School board meeting yesterday at Stonewall Jackson. I got a chance to sit at the lunch table with a couple of our students, Bridget being one of them. And I just think the Governor's School is a marvelous opportunity for the students here in Page County. There are 4 divisions recognized, or that attend with 11 high schools, and I'm just hoping that we can grow that program within Page County. I think it'd be marvelous. The students do a great job. We had a good opportunity. I want to say thanks to all the efforts for the RRMM team, as well as the budget and finance. You guys are doing amazing work. It's very evident when you look and see the results and the presentations and how committed you are to the overall process. So thank you for that. And I have one more thing. I have to read this because Anyway, it's time for me to retire and to begin my next phase of life. So my bride and I are going to be leaving Page County at the end of March, which means I will be leaving the school board. And I don't think it's a secret. There's no secrets in Page County. It's too small. It has been a challenging and a very rewarding experience. There's so much more work at the school board than I ever imagined. But I just feel very lucky and I think fortunate to have had the opportunity to serve the people of Page County and also District 2. I want to appreciate, I thank you for your trust and for allowing me to undertake this extremely important role. And it really is, it's all about the kids. It's all about the children. They are the most important factor in this county. They are our future. And I think it was just a great opportunity for me to, whether I did reading programs or got a chance to visit as Mr. Claus, I really had a good time working with the staff and the teachers and the students. The teachers and staff here, they work incredibly hard. And thank you to all of you, administrators as well. And I would ask that the community, those of you who might be awake still listening to us, or if you look at this online, I ask the community to support these wonderful people. They need your support. The school board needs your support. We need the support of the Board of Supervisors. And I think we've got a good relationship with the Board of Supervisors right now. And I think these meetings that we're having are going to be very fruitful and produce excellent results. So, I really hate to be leaving, but it is that time of my life, and there's a lot of work to do, and I'm sure that there'll be somebody that'll step up behind me. So God bless, and good luck in the future.
I think it's all been said, but to our student representative, thank you guys for sitting through this. Tonight's been long, very informative but long, and of course, thanks to Mr. Kale for staying open with us this late. That's awesome, and it was wonderful to see this auditorium filled with students and people who love and support them. That is why we are all here. That's what we care about, and yes, Ms. Miller, thank you for working diligently with numbers. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so we welcome Mr. Thomas with us, and it's good to have that position filled. And Mr. Overfeld is going to be leaving us, so we'll do some more interviews and assign someone else for the role, take his place for the year. It's kind of unprecedented what's happened with this board this year, and we've went through it, and you guys have done some great leadership to help us keep everything together. Also, welcome back Dr. Huber as well. That's kind of was unprecedented as well. So we're getting better, getting all the positions filled, and a lot of work has happened already. And I think it's already been mentioned, and we're still progressing. We're still making things happen. We do have budget has been a bigger discussion in this past year than it ever has been the last 4. And that's kind of to be seen, but some of the things that's happened, it's been unfortunate. particularly as we move from one administration to the next. One thing, shout out I want to give to our counselors was already mentioned by Dr. Huber's report. I spoke to a couple of them today as well. Our students are having an unprecedented amount of mental health struggles. And I do believe that our schools probably save hundreds every year. And tonight, we have a couple people here that's moved on to different positions, but Miss Miller was one of them, and Miss Casey as well, that helped us get the mentorship program together, and some people facilitated as well. But I heard from a parent today that was kind of disgruntled with the school, and she sent me a text message, and she talked about how her daughter has changed because of the mentorship program. That her daughter's mentor is actually Renee's mother. And this is what they said, and I got to be careful what I read here. But she just wanted to thank us for the mentorship program. Said her daughter is finally looking up, and life for her is finally changing slowly. That's a win. And there's a lot of wins here today. A lot of the students that we've already done. So I like winning. We need to keep on winning as well. So thank you for all your efforts, and I hope everyone has a good night. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second. I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, you got a motion, Mr. Overfelt, and I'm gonna, Mr. Bodrick, you're seconded, right?
All right.
All right.
I second it.
Yes.
I don't know.
Don't accept that.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you.